Unfortunately, humans don't come with an instruction manual. That means if we're trying to figure out what someone means without them actually saying it, we have to use the power of the mind, rather than flicking through a book to find the answers. Luckily, here at TheHub, we figured out some of the tricks that'll reap the best rewards. And today, we're showing you 10 psychology tricks that work on anybody. Before we start, we've got one extra cool psychological trick for you. Click the red subscribe button before we start, and you'll get to see all the rest of our cool videos. Wasn't that an easy one? Rock, paper, scissors. It might not seem like an everyday part of your life, but there's no doubt that a game of rock, paper, scissors can solve a lot of problems. Whether you're deciding who gets the last piece of cake or something far more serious, you've almost definitely been in a situation before where someone has suggested playing the classic game to resolve a problem. But the issue with this game is that there's virtually no way to win. There's not an easy scheming tool or one way to win for sure, but there's an easy psychological trick you can use to confuse your opponent. Sure, we can't guarantee it'll win your slice of cake, but it might help your odds a bit. We all know that rock is the strongest of the three, but what about if someone throws paper? The trick, before you pick your weapon of choice, is to ask your opponent confusing, unrelated questions. As a result, just before you throw, they'll likely struggle to think of the question's answer and their weapon at the same time, and they'll probably pick scissors. Don't ask us why, it's just the most common option. With this in mind, you can easily pick rock, win your game, and get whatever prize we know you've been waiting for. Get rid of that song. Ever had a song stuck in your head for days on end, not particularly knowing why, but just wishing it would go away? Maybe you've even had a worse problem and have had various parts of different songs going on all at once. We can definitely share your pain. You'll be carrying on with your day as per usual, and some completely random Taylor Swift lyrics will burst into your head. No matter what you're trying to do, you just can't shake them off. But an easy trick can be used to finally getting these darn lyrics to exit your head once and for all, or at least until the next time. Science suggests that we get songs stuck in our heads that aren't finished, which likely means you can't remember the end of the song. The simple solution? Figure out the end of the song and start to sing that in your head instead. Maybe even sing it out loud if they're truly irritating lyrics. By doing this, you should easily be able to convince your brain that you've finished the song and then it shouldn't bother you anymore. Now, just to do it with the other 10 songs we know will also get stuck. Make that decision easier. It's a common problem that kids don't want to eat vegetables. If they can try and get their own way, then we all know they're going to do their best. An important part of parenting is making your kids think that they're in control, actually making some of the crucial decisions for them. Which is why we all eat our vegetables instead of snacking on sugar all day, because we know it's what's best for us. But how can we make children, or even some more stubborn adults, think that they're making the decision while actually making it for them? The trick is to take out one element of control and replace it with another. So, say you're trying to get a child to eat some carrots. You know they don't want to eat the carrots, but you're not going to tell them that. The trick is to ask them a different question instead of, do you want carrots? Don't ask this, ask them, would you like 3 carrots or 5 carrots? They won't latch onto the fact that they're eating carrots regardless because they think they're still in charge by choosing exactly how many carrots they'll be able to eat. Take you seriously. As we grew up, we all found ourselves in a situation of having to prove our knowledge. Sure, we knew we were right the whole time, but it's not a rare thing for older people to disbelieve younger people. You could be as adamant as you like, but there'd still always be at least one person who wouldn't believe a word you were saying. But maybe you could use that older figure to your advantage. Because as sad as it seems, psychology suggests the whole older and wiser thing still exists. So maybe we can use that to back up our knowledge. At the end of the day, if we really need to convince someone to follow our words, then we'll go to any extent. What we're saying here is, if you're trying to pass on your fountain of knowledge, then simply pretend your parents told it to you first. People are more likely to believe your words if they come from a trusted source, and we're not talking about Google here, but instead, your parents. Of course, parents always know best and always know the right answer. Nope, we're not rolling our eyes here at all. Just tell someone that your mother or father mentioned the fact to you, and someone will probably swallow it up whole without questioning it. Nod your way through. But if telling someone your father bestowed their wisdom on you doesn't work, then there's another easy psychological trick to get people to believe your words, and it's even simpler than our last one. It works on the basis of positive movements, and what's more positive movement around? Nodding at someone. You can try this with virtually anyone and it'll work. Talk away to whoever's listening and nod as you speak. The nodding will subconsciously show them that you're speaking the truth, and without even realizing, they'll probably start nodding back. Unless what you're saying is clearly untrue, then psychology suggests nodding will get you through even the trickiest of conversations. If you really want to show you're serious, then look your friend in the eye during the conversation. Eye contact shows a level of trust and assurance, and combined with nodding, they'll believe your words without any further proof. So obviously, the one overruling way to get someone to believe your words is to combine all three of these options. Who knew that some basic psychological tricks could get us so far in life? We know we'll definitely be trying this one out in a sticky situation. Get new information. Now, if you're bored of telling people information using the tricks above, then you might be waiting to hear some information back. But the trouble is that not everyone is so welcome to share their deepest, darkest thoughts, and sometimes it can take a bit more effort or a handy trick to get that information out of them. We're against putting too much pressure on people, but there's a good way to get all the information you need just by using an easy trick that relies on basic societal functions. Have you ever noticed that people hate silence? If you're in a room and no one is speaking, there'll almost definitely be someone who keeps talking to fill the silence, even if they're not really saying much of anything of relevance. In order to extract this information, you need to repeat the process. If someone is only giving away a little information and you want more, don't keep talking after their reply. Instead, hold their gaze and keep silent. They'll likely keep talking to avoid an awkward silence, and obviously the closest topic of conversation is whatever you've just been speaking about. They'll tell you what you've been wondering about without you even directly asking. All eyes on you. If humans had a sixth sense, then it would definitely be the ability to tell if someone is staring at us. Sure, it's not a proven scientific theory, but we all get the same prickly feeling on the back of our neck when someone is showing us more attention without our full knowledge than we truly like. But short of installing a camera on the back of our head, or calling them out with any proof, you can't just accuse someone of staring at you without having seen them do it first. Yeah, we know it's a bit of a catch-22, but use psychology to figure out if they've been looking your way for a while without them even noticing. If you think someone is staring at you, try and yawn. Even if it's a fake yawn, go the whole distance and maybe pull out some sound effects. Sure enough, take a glimpse their way a few moments later, and they may be yawning too. We all know how contagious a yawn is, and if someone has been staring, then they're more likely than ever to have been open wide shortly after as well. This trick isn't foolproof, of course, because they might actually just be tired, but it can be an excellent indication as to whether or not you should keep your guard up. Remember me. One of the hardest parts of life nowadays is keeping yourself memorable. Whether you're aiming for a new career through a tough job interview, or you're going on a date that you're hoping progresses to a relationship, it's tough in this day and age to make yourself stand out from the crowd. Tips like wearing colorful clothes or bright lipstick can only go so far, and if everyone else is also wearing a bright red shirt, then you're all gonna look identical after all. Instead, use the time of day to your advantage. If you're going on a date, try and schedule it for the morning or the evening rather than the afternoon. Maybe go out for a breakfast coffee or catch a late night movie. Also, if you're going for an interview, try and schedule it so you'll either be the last or the first. Psychology says our brains are more likely to remember the ends and beginnings of things, whether that's a conversation or a book. Think back. You might struggle to remember the middle chunk of your favorite book. The beginning and end will almost certainly be more prominent. As a result, if you're first or last, the interviewer will probably keep your name in mind, whether they like it or not. Use a name. Not only is this next trick perfect for making you seem charming and an excellent colleague, it'll also improve your memory. When talking to someone for the first time, make a note of their name. You should probably be doing this anyway, so as to not embarrass yourself in the future conversations, but it can also help you in the short term. People tend to not say names out loud too much, because they don't really think it's necessary. 9 times out of 10, the person you're speaking to will know that your words are directed to them. You may have noticed that the only time we really use people's names is to get their attention, but using their name in conversation will psychologically warm you up to them and will definitely work to your advantage. Not only will they feel like you're talking to them and only them, they'll appreciate the gesture because not many people do it. This is one of the easiest tricks you can use to give off an excellent first impression without really going over the top in your approach. Try not to overuse the name because at that point, your conversation partner might catch on, but once every so often is definitely an excellent feature to include if you're looking to impress. Figuring out friends. When you join a new school or start a new job, it can be difficult to figure out who's friends with who and who seriously dislikes each other. Office politics can take a while to get a hold of, and we don't really have the spare time to keep making notes as to who is currently arguing and who suddenly seems to be best friends. The easy trick to doing this quickly is to look how people react when someone makes a joke. Something you might not have noticed is that people tend to look at their closest friend or companion when they laugh, a way of sharing the joke almost. If you're not sure who gets along with who, then simply wait for this moment. When someone in the office or at school makes a joke, look to see where each person's eye contact is going. You'll easily figure out which pairs of people fit together. This can also work in the opposite manner. If you notice two people who never seem to share a joke or hold any kind of eye contact, then chances are they either don't get along or they're both just very shy. If it's the latter, you can use this video to your advantage and make friends with them by teaching them some neat psychological tricks. We hope you enjoyed learning about these psychological tricks today, and we know you'll definitely be using some of them in the future. Thanks for watching The Hub, and we'll see you next time.